Hello again, YouTubes. Maximus Grahamicus back here again, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys a very popular class, one of my favorites, the Engineer. Oh yeah, another ranged guy with a gun. So this class is a little bit more complicated to play, and so is the spec tree for it, but it's also very, very fun, and having these bots and stuff with you is just great. These guys are amazing. Who doesn't love having pets with them, right? The pet class, the only pet class in the game. So I'm going to start here with our ability tree. Our main source for damage here is going to be Electrocute because it's just very easy. It's a straight line telegraph and it does massive damage, and all you need is just volatility to keep channeling. And we're going to be building that up and keeping it going. We are not going to be using Pulse Blast. Now this here is basically your primary attack, has no cooldown, and is basically what most engineers would use to build volatility, but because we've got such a sweet and amazing rotation, we're not going to need this. We're going to have Artillery Bot, and we're going to have this at tier 4. This is going to give us the extra empowerment, so it gives us, me and my Artillery Bot, an extra multi-hit severity of 5%. Mortar Strike at tier 4 as well, so dealing direct damage with target acquisition grants overcharge, and that overcharge makes this ability, Mortar Strike, cost 0 volatility, and the cooldown is also reduced by 2 seconds when you use it. Bioshell at tier 4 as well. Tier 4 instant cast while up between 30 and 70 volatility. This is going to become important later on. Between 30 and 70 volatility is going to be the sweet spot for a lot of your skills and damage. So getting up to 30 volatility is going to make this ability become instant cast instead of having to have almost a 2-second cast time on it. But it does a massive amount of damage, and it also debuffs the target, making them take more technology damage of 6%. And it generates volatility as well. So then we're going to look at the rest of the skills. We have Volatile Injection, also at tier 4. While between 30 and 70 volatility, you gain Empower when you use this ability. It increases your multi-hit chance by 8%. And we're not using any other support abilities other than our Bruiser Bot. And this guy is going to basically act as an off tank for us, who can also taunt and interrupt. And then we also have our Artillery Bot, which is going to be shooting out damage. So I'll go over the basic skills here. I've got my Bruiser Bot here. You can set these up in any order you want. Electrocute, Target Acquisition, Artillery Bot, Quick Burst, Bioshell, Volatile Injection, Mortar Strike. Alright, so now we're going to look at the amp tree. It'll start to make a little bit more sense when we get through the amps here. I'll start here with the utility section. So we're going to have 3 points in cooldown reduction, and then this one right here, Reckless Dash. Dashing generates 15 volatility. So that's a lot better than using your Pulse Blast to generate volatility. This generates 15 volatility, and this generates 15 volatility, but it's a lot easier to dash for your volatility than it is to wait for that long shot to come up. And also in combat, you'll actually get your volatility, and it will increase because you'll be in combat. So we're going to have our assault power, 3 points there. We're going to split the difference here between critical hit severity and critical hit chance, just so that we can make sure that we have enough points for the rest of the skills that we want. In the tier 2 phase, we want extra hurtin', between 30 and 70 volatility, gain in power. That gives us our armor penetration, reduced damage mitigation. And harmful hits, landing a critical hit grants Empower for 5 seconds, increases your multi-hit chance. A lot of the damage from the Engineer's build is going to be based around multi-hit. You want to get your multi-hit chance and your multi-hit damage up really high, and then Electrocute is going to be multi-hitting and critting like crazy and just basically zapping them down in no time. And then Explosive Ammo. Landing a multi-hit deals additional splash damage to the target and to foes within 6 meters. Okay, so that's our Explosive Ammo. Target Acquisition. We need this point so that we can actually have this ability on our bar. But we're going to leave it at tier 1 because it's basically just our open, and it's our way of generating volatility, and it's going to be followed up by Mortar Strike and Bioshell. So Target Acquisition, and then we've got Crushing. You're cruising for a bruising. While between 30 and 70 volatility, gain in power. This increases multi-hit severity. It's more there. Unstable volatility. Landing a direct hit with damage applies 1 stack of unstable volatility. Reaching 3 stacks deals extra damage. So your electrocute hits extremely fast, 3 ticks, and it's going to deal extra damage right there. And now here we have the hybrid tree. So we're going to basically put 1 in strike through, 1 in strike through, and then we're just going to have 1 point here for life steal, just so that our damage, you know, is going to give us just even a little bit of life return. And as your damage gets higher, that life return will get even greater, so that it should overtake the amount of damage you're taking, basically making you able to face tank the majority of stuff that you're fighting. But since, you know, you don't really have any other means of healing yourself, you're an engineer, I would recommend taking the keep on truck and amp as well. Killing a foe restores, you know, a certain amount of health, and while you're running through killing lots of mobs and stuff, this would be not very helpful in a dungeon spec, but out in open world for farming, this is going to be, like, you know, nice for healing, especially if you do get roughed up and you don't have another way of healing yourself other than food or stim packs. And forceful impact, your direct multi-hits gain in power increases your assault power and support power, but we're DPS spec right now. And then we've got exploit weakness. Landing direct physical or technological damage grants more in power, and that's more damage of whichever damage type we hit them with. So that's the amp tree. We've gone through that. We've gone through the skills. Now let's have a quick demo here and basically go through the rotation of how to do this properly. So here I am out in Arctera. These mobs here have more health than out in your average daily standard zones. And I'm going to go down here to my friend the Walletusks, and I'm going to start this challenge. So, I'm going to lead with target acquisition, and then immediately after, fire the bioshell. And that should put us up to 70 volatility, and at 70, then we're going to immediately pop our volatile injection, which is going to increase our volatility even more and give us that empower, because it's right in there in the sweet spot, filling it up. And then we're going to spam electrocute and artillery barrage and the quick burst. And this here is basically, this is our interrupt and a taunt. So this guy's, you know, your bruiser bot is a very, very short cooldown for an interrupt compared to almost every other class. Oh, look at that, we got our omnibits. It's a new week, we love it, don't we? Oh, we do. If you're fortunate enough to have the technologist set, you can have that cooldown on your bruiser bot brought down to just about 10 seconds on the cooldown. And there's the interrupt. And now target acquisition, bioshell, volatile injection. After using your target acquisition, again, this is free to cast with volatility. See, and you'll see the thing going around there, and it'll have that cooldown. So let's try this a little bit better. 1, 2 there. I'm still full of volatility. There's the interrupt. Alright, so target acquisition, bioshell, volatile injection, and then we hit him with the mortar strike. I mean, you can do it a lot faster with some practice, but basically the point is here is that with this using target acquisition and bioshell to build our volatility up, we don't need to use the pulse blast. And even if you start getting a little bit low, then you can just always dash as well, right? You can use your dash to refill your volatility as well. Say you're just a little bit under 30 volatility from using your electric strike, you can just do a quick dash to bring it up over 30, fire a bioshell. So target acquisition. Okay, so I've fired a little bit. So now I don't quite have enough, but I dash, fire bioshell, volatile injection, and then I'm good to go again. And also remember, after you use your target acquisition, that mortar strike, free 99. And don't forget to pop your exosuit every now and then, you know, and just run these guys over because it's just great. It has a long cooldown, but you know, you don't have to get too chintzy on it. You know, just make sure you use it. You don't want to be playing for hours and not ever using your innate. I know it has a long cooldown, but every now and then pop it, have some fun. You don't want to save it forever now. Target acquisition, bioshell, mortar strike, spend a little bit, and then right in between 30 and 50, pop that volatile injection. And we zap them down. But yes, leading with target acquisition. Even if you fail to hit a target, you're still going to generate that volatility. And then your bioshell will be up for instant cast. But your bioshell does have to hit a target to generate volatility. But target acquisition does not. And we got our interrupt, and look at that, we got a gold medal already. No time, no problem. Alright guys, so there's some other ways you can play around with this, you know, to make it more effective for dungeons, raiding, PvP as well, but this is just my DPS spec that I like to use, and it doesn't use Pulse Blast, which I see a lot of engineers using. You guys can get rid of that and start rocking out this, and you won't have to look back. Don't worry about it. You don't need it. Alright? Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll get some more out to you guys soon. Alright? Take care.